Hi, Denise. Welcome to class.
Thank you.
Getting later on in the day for me. It's 4 o'clock my time, so it must be whereabouts. Where are
5
you?
in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't usually teach this late in the day. Most of my classes get scheduled earlier on.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. Hi, Leona, Terry. Summer is here.
Hello.
Hi. This is kind of fun. I just finished doing the 7 Healings food class, which a few of you were at. And so this is almost like an extension of that class that after talking about healing foods, I wanted to create this one on natural remedies because I was getting asked a lot about what to do for certain ailments. So there you go. All right. Well, welcome to class. Just going to get my chat box up. So we have John here from support, and he will be here to help us if you have any kind of problems or issues with your tech. He can probably answer any questions you have. I'm just joking, John. He does help me out a lot. So if I can't answer something, sometimes he beats me to it and adds in a little comment or something in the chat. Or he also alerts me if somebody's put a question in there. And yeah, so it's great to have you all here. And let me get sharing my screen. He started the recording, which is lovely. Okay, so you are in the right place if you are here to learn about natural remedies. Fun class. I created this class after my 7 Healings food class when I realized that we all want to know more about natural remedies. So I've chosen 7 common ailments that happen for us older adults and, maybe younger people as well. But these are some of the things that I felt people want to know about. So let's move through the next few screens here. So my name is Ravina Chandra. I'm one of the guides here at Get Set Up, and I'm actually one of 2 guides that are in Canada. So for any of you that are in Canada, it's great. I haven't actually met a lot of Canadians so far that have been in the class, but we hope to have more. I've been involved with health and wellness for my entire career, I would say. I went to university to study. I went and did my nursing degree. And after that, I studied functional nutrition. And most of the work that I do now, even since I've retired from my full-time, corporate job, is learning about prevention. What can we do to prevent getting sick? Because, I might be like, yeah, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick. I want to live a full life and live in health. So that's the reason why I like to study as much as I can regarding nutrition and prevention and just living vibrantly. So we do learn from each other. So if you would like to, please put your camera on. That's the end of the day. Who cares? It's like, if your house is a bit messy, no problem. We're not here to judge what your house looks like. It's just nice to see people's faces, and then I feel like at least we have an interaction. We do record these sessions, so if you would like a copy of it, you can ask for a copy of it at the end of the class, and the email is up on the screen. And also we do live stream some of our classes, and today we are live streaming. So hello to all of you out there that are live streaming in and taking a peek into the class to see if it's something you might like to register for on a later day. I do most of my teaching. Well, right now I do all of my teaching on Thursdays, Fridays, or Saturdays. So if you're looking for any of my classes, you'll find them on those days. There are other guides that do teach some health and wellness classes. And so that might be on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Sunday. I do believe we do classes on Sunday as well. We don't get paid or get kickbacks for any type of product or service that I might talk about today. So just so you're aware of that. So today, what are we going to learn? We're going to just understand the healing power of plants, herbs, spices, and food. There's quite a little bit of a history about that. So we're going to learn a little bit of history about natural medicine, not a huge, heavy history lesson, because that's not my thing. And then we're going to learn about 7 natural remedies for 7 common ailments. So let's get started so that we don't run out of time. I don't want us to feel rushed, and I apologize if we do end up rushing towards the end. It might be because of a lot of questions that I get asked, but we will try to just make sure we have enough time to get through everything. I never skip a slide, but I might go through it quickly. So has anybody today, like in class today, have any of you ever used a plant, an herb, a spice, even a food to heal something that's been going on in your body, like a symptom or a body ailment that you've had? Anybody do that?
Yes, turmeric for my bulging discs in my back.
Yes, that's a great one. Yeah, anybody else used anything?
Ginger, arnica.
Mm-hmm. I learned about arnica when I did my nutrition program, and the arnica was great for for bruising, right? Is that what you used it for, bruises?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have used baking soda for indigestion, like when you have heartburns or
Oh,
need
wow.
to belch baking soda.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's cool. And then some Barbara's put in
And
here.
And also mustard is good.
Okay, mustard. Yeah, interesting. I've not heard of that, Barbara. Thuja for skin tags. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, there's so many amazing healing foods out there. Anybody else want to share?
Ginger.
Ginger?
Yes.
Yes, that's a great one. Ginger, we talked
I've used garlic to lessen cold symptoms.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's great. Ginger and garlic we talked about in this last class in the 7 healing foods. Those were 2 of the healing foods we talked about. And you're right. Garlic is great for colds and infections, and ginger is great for helping improve our digestion, and also if we're having any nausea, is a great is great for that. All right, well that's great to hear that. So we have been using the healing power of plants and herbs and spices and foods for many, many, many years, like thousands of years. In ancient history, places like China, Greece, India, Egypt, these types of places have been really, really involved with looking to plants for healing. Our indigenous people also use and rely on plants for healing. That's their number one thing that they go to is plants when it comes to healing any kind of diseases or conditions, symptoms that are going on in their bodies. Since the beginning, like we as humans, we have experimented with a lot of different plants to see how they can heal us. And in a sense, we've been like it's been like 1,000 years of a huge clinical trial with medicinal plants, if you can think of it that way. But we've tested out different plants, like we've combined different plants to see what kind of effect they have. Sometimes things have been found out by mistake when we were trying to do something else, and then we found it's good for this thing as opposed to what we were looking for. So it is a very, very interesting idea. And it's possible that as humans, we got our ideas to find out about curative powers of plants from observing animals around us. And there's a term for that, which I'll see if I can pronounce it this time. It's a little difficult. Zoopharmacognosy is the name, and that means the behavior in which animals apparently self-medicate themselves by selecting specific plants to prevent or reduce a harmful effect of something in their body, like a toxin or a pathogen. Now, it sounds all complicated, zoopharmacognosy, and you see this little guy here chomping on something. I just found the picture and I found him kind of cute. But where have we seen this in our own lives? Has anybody got a cat or dog? Dogs do it too. I'm more familiar with the cats because I'm more the cat person. I like the dogs too, but I like my cats. Yeah. My cat used to do this if it was feeling a little sick and needed to like settle its stomach. He'd go out and eat grass. And as soon as I saw Jesse the cat eating grass, I knew I needed to get him, off of the carpet. And so they have an instinct to do that. There's the Aspelia plant that the chimpanzee will go and seek out if it feels like it's got parasites in its body. So animals have been doing this for a long time. Us humans have been also trying and testing out different things. So that's kind of neat to see. In today's society, we have doctors that focus specifically on this, or part of their practices. They might use a spice, they might use herbs, they might use a plant. Can anybody tell me the name of a type of doctor that does that in today's society?
Naturopath.
Homeopath.
Naturopathic.
Yeah, naturopath, homeopathic doctors, absolutely. These doctors use things like such as plants and herbs in their practice. Any other doctors you can think of that might use some of these things?
Holistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some go by holistic practitioner. Let me see, I think I got on the slide. So naturopathic traditional Chinese medicine doctors, TCM, they use plants and herbs and things like that. In India, we have our I think it comes from India, Ayurvedic doctors. They study the Ayurvedics, which has its own sort of ideas from ancient times. Herbal medicine doctors, we also call them Aboriginal medicine, and we also call it bush medicine. Now, I found that last one very interesting because it's like it's an interplay between the different things in our bodies, like the physical part of us, but also our emotional, our social, and our spiritual part of us. And bush medicine specialist doctors will look at all that, and they think it's crucial for our overall well-being. So they're looking at all these different things. I find that part really fascinating. At one point, I was thinking of studying TCM, but it is quite a heavy-duty course to do. I did the functional nutrition part, and I had some classes in traditional Chinese medicine, but I didn't go through the full thing. So while there are thousands of different healing plants and herbs, we're going to talk about around 7, because we're going to talk about 7 ailments, and then I talk about certain few things that help with each of these ailments. So it might be something that you've suffered with today or in the past, and let's get started and have a look. So the first one is the ailment is around high blood sugar. Now that's also referred to as your glucose levels in your blood. You might have adult onset diabetes. They don't really call it that anymore. They call it type 2 diabetes because we have younger people getting type 2 now. So they kind of got rid of the adult part. You might even be considered pre-diabetic. Do you know what that means? It's kind of between having normal blood sugar and not quite as high as what a diabetic might have. You're kind of in between there. So you're kind of high, but not quite high enough to be diagnosed as diabetic. So that's really important, especially if you're pre-diabetic, to not turn over into the diabetes diagnosis. So controlling our sugar in our blood is really important. We don't want sugar in our blood, okay? If you eat a sugary treat, if you have a simple carbohydrate, it goes in, you ingest it, it goes through and it goes through your digestion. That glucose is taken from that food and it goes into your bloodstream. That is the trigger for your pancreas, which is your organ, your pancreas, to release insulin. And the insulin's released and goes into your blood vessels. And it's there to try to get that glucose and move it out of your blood vessels. So you don't really want to have a constant stream of sugar in your blood because it's going to overwork your pancreas. That's what happens. And then what happens is your body doesn't react properly to insulin anymore. And so it's pumping out all this insulin and the sugar is staying in your blood. Not good because it causes all sorts of other issues. So what can we do about it? Cinnamon has been researched and studied to help with reducing your blood sugar levels in your blood. So it almost feels like it might be sweet because cinnamon kind of goes with sweet things usually, but it really doesn't have sweetness to it. It's just more the fragrance and the sweetness that we think of when we smell cinnamon. But there is actual studies to say that it helps to reduce the fasting sugar level. It helps to improve your insulin sensitivity, and you want to have sensitive insulin. sensitivity to insulin, I should say. And it also helps to improve the lipids in your blood, so the fat in your blood, and we don't want a lot of fat in our blood either. Yes, Denise, so she puts a cinnamon stick in her black coffee in the morning. That's awesome. Well, they're the very, very great idea. We can get cinnamon in many ways. Now, I think I say it on the next slide here. Yes, we all can love our cinnamon buns. There's always a Cinnabon or one of those cinnamon places in the airport where you just get off the plane and all you can smell is cinnamon buns, and you get the craving. They do it on purpose to us, but you can put it in savory foods. Like your porridge, sprinkle a little bit on the top, like in the picture. You can put it in soups and stews. I had a lady, a learner in one of my classes who is Greek, and she said some of the older Greek recipes use cinnamon in the savory recipe. So test it out, try it out, just sprinkle a little bit on something that you wouldn't normally expect to do. I think my husband sprinkled it on eggplant the other day, and it was quite an interesting flavor. So very much can help with the blood sugar levels in your blood. Now, I wouldn't say do cinnamon versus your diabetic medication, obviously not, but if you can reduce your blood sugar also naturally, and maybe you're taking medication, you're saving yourself a lot of heartache from other side effects that happen when you have diabetes or have high blood sugar.
They also come in capsules.
Yes, you can get you can get cinnamon capsules. Now, I'm all for capsules if you don't like the flavor. Like, to me, we have cinnamon in a shaker in our house, and we just sprinkle it on pretty much many things. Turmeric, on the other hand, which is something that I think I might talk about today in class. I just talked about it in my 7 healing foods. It's a bit bitter, and some people that really, really believe in it, for like Carolyn, for instance, she mentioned it. She takes it for her bulging discs, and she uses turmeric pills because she wants to make sure she gets a steady amount of turmeric in her diet. So it just depends on the person. All right, let's move to the second one, hair thinning. Hair thinning comes and goes, doesn't it? Depending on what's the main reason for our hair thinning, other than menopause can cause it, genetic stuff.
Genetics, yeah.
Chronic stress. Chronic stress.
And medication.
And medication can do it. Yes, medication can do it. My hairstylist told me that she can always tell when a lady's been like one of her clients has been pregnant and has a baby. It's usually around 4 months after the baby's born and their hair is thin. And that's because it's taken 4 months of stress. It doesn't show up like that. When you have the thinning hair, look back to see what were you stressed about 4 months ago. That's about the timing of it. So if you're suffering from some like thinner hair right now, maybe you've made some changes in your diet and in your lifestyle to reduce the stress. But here's some reasons for it. It's a lot to do with your lifestyle habits. Typically, we lose around 50 to 100 hairs a day. So that's it seems like a lot, doesn't it? But when you're in the shower and and you're getting all this hair and you're going, oh my gosh, it's just falling out in clumps. Sometimes we're over-treating our hair. We're using too harsh a product. We're wearing our hair too tight. Sometimes, people pull their hair too tight. We might be low in minerals, especially our iron. And the chronic stress is the big one. And sometimes it's an underlying medical condition, such as, say, a thyroid problem that might be causing the thinning hair. So thyroid is very connected to thinning hair. Thyroid, like hypothyroidism. Yes, Cheryl, sorry, just looking, berberine is also used to maintain normal blood sugar levels. I have read that. And for anybody who has troubles with just getting back to the blood sugar levels, I'm sure you'll try all sorts of different things. Oh, you've got it there. Yeah. Very good. So that's good. That's great. I love that people are looking at natural ways. So let's look at the thinning hair. What can we do from a nutritional point of view? Well, most likely you might be having low in iron and in zinc. Those are the 2 biggies for minerals. The other one is your vitamin B7, and it's called biotin. You find biotin in nuts, in lentils, in livers. Those are the things that I would try to increase in terms of food. Omega-3s. Omega-3s is a biggie too. we tend to forget about our omega-3s. We can't manufacture it in our body. It's the omega-3 fatty acids. They're in things like the fatty fishes, like sardines and herring and salmon and mackerel. If you don't eat fish, it's in flax seeds and chia seeds and hemp seeds. All those seeds, you can throw that in your salads. Chia seeds make great puddings. People do that. And then other places you can get omega-3s, walnuts, and also in Brussels sprouts. So there's lots of ways to try and get your omega-3s. But if you have thinning hair, the number one thing I would do is do a little bit of journaling and figure out what might you be under chronic stress over. And
Ravina, would
yes.
omega-3s also include anchovies?
I would imagine they are, because anchovies can be a little bit oily. I would look that up. I think probably anchovies would have the omega-3s in it as well.
So I discovered something this week that, the thought of anchovies itself is just repulsive to me, but there's an anchovy paste.
Yes, that's right. That's right. There is a paste.
You never know it's a fish.
Yes, very, very good. Yes, there is a paste. Yeah.
And I made a salad dressing out of it, and my husband, who just nearly died when he found out I put anchovy paste in it, he said it was the best salad he's ever eaten.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well, I'm going to try the anchovy paste. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would be kind of cool. Omega-3s, I talk about it, and I talk about it in just about every one of my health classes, because for anything, whether it's, trying to reduce inflammation, brain health, heart health, eye health, omega-3s is you need it, because we don't make these omega-3s in our body. We can't manufacture it. So you have to get it from your food. So, if you're not a fish eater, or you're a vegan, or, you're a vegetarian and you don't eat fish, then there are other ways to get your omega-3s.
Ravina,
Yes.
what do you think about omega-3 supplements? Are they worth taking if you think you're low on eating those things?
Yeah, I think out of the few supplements, like I'm not against supplements, but I learned this in nutrition. Supplements are good as a therapeutic fix. So just because somebody told you in 1992 that, something was good to take, doesn't mean you got to take it forever, right? Like we sometimes get stuck on something, go, oh, this was good for me back then, it should be good for me now. Our bodies change, our needs change. Because I know that most people are low in omega-3s, unless they've made fish part of their, weekly food that they eat, and they eat like I eat tons of flax seeds and chia seeds, because I put it in my smoothies, and I have smoothies every day. If you're not doing that, that is one of the good things to use for a supplement, is the fish oil or the omega-3s. Check the ingredients when you're buying it in the health food store. Talk to your pharmacist or your specialist in the health food store, and get a good quality omega-3, and make sure you tell your doctor what you're taking in terms of supplements. It's really important that they know what you're taking. But yes, to answer your question, it's a perfectly good one to take in supplement form. And same with vitamin D, because a lot of us are low in vitamin D and we're just not getting enough because maybe we don't like fish, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting either of those. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go on to the third ailment. And the third ailment is anxiety. How many of us have suffered from anxiety? Well, probably most every one of us has had an acute situation of anxiety, whether it was, before we wrote a test, or what else could bring on anxiety? Maybe there's issues going on at work and people are getting let go and you're worried it's going to be you next. What else? There's many reasons to feel anxious. What about what's going on in the world right now? Maybe we're starting to feel a little bit more control because there's a vaccine out now. But what about last year? How are you feeling in March of 2020? If you were like me, I was freaked out. I was just like, I can't leave my house now. I was anxious. I was scared to go to the grocery store. I was scared to even eat any of my groceries when I bought them home. I was clean, in the beginning, I was, doing all these things. So as a society, a lot of us were anxious. So in some part, anxiety can be part of normal life, especially in our chaotic life that we live in. but going unchecked and having ongoing anxiety is not great. It's not a good thing. So what can we do about our anxiety? Well, there's a lot on the screen, but here are some really, really great natural things that you can do to help if you've got any form of anxiety or you feel anxiety coming on. So staying active helps with our anxiety. Cutting down or drinking no alcohol, ditching the caffeine, that's a really, really good one. Even if it's just temporary, if you're feeling anxious, especially in the mornings, that's when the cortisol, comes out. Just stop drinking the caffeine for a while and see if that helps. Practicing deep breathing, improving the quality of your sleep, which is kind of, I know it's hard. If you're already anxious, how are you getting the good sleep? Or are you waking up in the middle of the night? Maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night. Meditating, if you can even try and do a little meditation for a minute or two, is a great way to reduce anxiety. There's different apps. I think it's the Calm app, where it's really kind of neat because there's this like a little circle and it's a thing that's sort of breathing and it kind of comes on like this and it helps you to kind of slow your breathing down. It's actually quite cool. That's a phone app. Improving on your diet. Another way to reduce your anxiety is aromatherapy, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that could be in your aromatherapy to help you with your feelings of anxiety. Spending time with animals is a big one for reducing anxiety. Have you noticed that they have therapy dogs and therapy animals in places like nursing homes, senior facilities, at the airport for all of us at any age to kind of calm us down when we're stressed out because maybe we've missed a flight or our flight's late or something's happened and we're stressed out. So they've got these beautiful therapy dogs in the airports. They even have them in the lobbies of hospitals now. Here in Canada, they do, probably where you are as well. Just to sort of to help us when we're feeling scared or stressed. We've got a family member in the hospital, in surgery maybe. Right now, it's a little bit different because where I live, I don't think we're even allowed to go in the hospital unless we're actually the patient. You're not allowed to sort of be there with your loved one. And then this is a fairly new one. It's sort of become trendy, but I feel it has helped a lot of people, is these things called weighted blankets. And I believe you can get it on, I think you can get it on Amazon, and they have different weights to the blanket. So, in summertime, maybe you don't want like this huge, big comforter on you, a comforter, duvet comforter, but the weighted blanket just gives you that feeling of safety almost. So that could help with anxiety, having a weighted blanket. But let's look at some natural remedies for anxiety. Lavender is the clear winner. When I studied all the different things that help our anxiety, lavender is the one. Now, just looking at the picture of the field of lavender is a calming thing for me. I love that color. I love the smell. I have lavender in my aromatherapy. I put it in my diffuser. You can just get lavender. You can grow lavender in a pot and bring it in and put it in a little thing or in your pillowcase. It's lovely in tea as well. You can take a rooibos tea, like a non-caffeinated tea, and add some lavender right into your little tea pouch and have it infused in your tea. It's really lovely. There's other studies on passion flower. That's a name of a flower, passion flower. And they usually combine it with a few others to put as a tea as well. And then most of you have probably heard of chamomile. Chamomile tea, it's usually, it's like in the sleepy teas to help you before you go to sleep. That has a very calming effect as well. So all three of those, and they do have different combinations of them at the grocery store. Susie's mentioning lavender oil. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you just put a little drop on your pillowcase. Oh, it just is it's so nice. And I love when a friend of mine has lavender. She grows lavender, so she gives me a bunch every year, and you can dry it as well and then use it in your teas. But it just is such a lovely fragrance. It's very, very soothing. All right, let's move on to the fourth ailment. So, has anybody suffered from swelling or edema?
Yes.
Sometimes in the summer, It can get worse in the summer. What about when you've been on a plane? Many of us probably haven't been on a plane lately, but sitting on a plane and our feet hanging down for all that time, and we're wearing our shoes for a longer period of time, can cause swelling in our ankles. You can get edema anywhere in your body, actually. Face is another place that you sometimes will feel, you'll get that swelling or edema in your face. But it's mostly in the extremities. You'll feel it. You'll get fat fingers, or the ankles are probably the worst because your feet are hanging down. So why does this happen? We know that medications can cause this, can be a side effect. What about when we're on our feet too long? I used to have it happen. One ankle would get worse than the other, but I would get it from standing on my feet too long, say on a job, or your shoes don't fit very well. What about our diets? Yeah, and having a sedentary lifestyle can add to this edema. So what can we do to improve it naturally? So here's the little trick when it comes to edema. Over time, naturally, your body will balance things out and get rid of this extra fluid. But the one thing that you can do, which will seem kind of counterintuitive, drink 8 to 10 glasses of water, not all at once, but drink it over time. What's happening is your body is, how would I say it? Your body is hoarding water. Because, why do you think? Because you're dehydrated. So if your body is dehydrated, and it realizes, and it needs water. It needs water. Your brain needs water. Your processes for your body needs water. For your digestion, like breaking down your food, it needs water. If you're dehydrated and it's sucking the water out of your cells, your body's going to hoard it and it's going to hold on to it. So if you've got water, it's going to hold on to it and it's going to show up maybe in swollen ankles. So if you start to slowly increase your water intake, even though you don't think you want to, because you can feel I got all this water on me, it actually helps to release this swelling and edema, because your body's now, oh, thank goodness, you're not drying me up here. You're giving me water, and it will release that water that's sitting there stuck in your ankles. Another way is to use compression socks. Another is to have a cool bath in Epsom salts. Epsom salts has magnesium in it. It's a good way to release some of the swelling, and also trying to elevate your feet. So if you've had a hard day and you've been on your feet at your volunteer job, or you've been running around with grandkids, or maybe you're still working, just getting your feet up, put your feet up, try and get them up a little bit higher than your heart. That will really help as well. But let's look at some of the natural remedies. Often when we have swelling and edema in our ankles and the rest of our body, it's because we're low in magnesium. Now, I'm just going to step back here for 1 sec. I mentioned the cool Epsom salt bath. The Epsom salts, if you buy them, it's full of magnesium. Remember that our skin is our largest organ in our body. So if you go lie in a bath in Epsom salts, that magnesium is going into your body. It's going through your skin. So that makes sense that if you're retaining water, you might be low in magnesium. That's why the Epsom salt bath can really help, because you're getting magnesium in through your skin. How else can you get magnesium? Through food, right? Through the high, rich magnesium foods. So things like almonds, tofu, cashews, spinach, broccoli, avocados, they are all high in magnesium. So next time, if you know you're going to be traveling and you're going to be on a plane and you know your feet are going to be dangling down there, and you're going to probably wearing your shoes for 5 hours or 7 hours or whatever you're going to be flying for, give yourself a little boost of your magnesium before you go. Another really big tip that my nutritionist person told me is to hydrate yourself 3 days before you travel on a plane. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Because other than the fact that you're not at home where you just go to the tap and get your water, you're on a plane, right? Maybe you got someone sitting beside you. You don't want to actually have to get up to use the bathroom. So what do? You stop drinking, don't you? I do. I just say no to, I might sip a tiny bit of water, but I don't even want to drink water because I don't want to have to get up to use the toilet. I rather try to wait till I get into the airport. But anyways, that's just me. It's kind of weird. I don't like those little teeny tiny bathrooms on the plane. And it's been a year and a half since I've been on a plane, I think. I haven't traveled anywhere. All right, we're going to move on to the 5th symptom, high blood pressure. Is this a problem for anybody? Or you think you might have a thing with it? The thing about high blood pressure, we also call it hypertension. Guess what? Unfortunately, it can run in families. It can be hereditary. So you might be in the best shape of your life. You might feel like you're maintaining a good weight, you're eating healthy foods, you're doing all the right things. Why is my blood pressure on the high side? And you might get really upset about that. Unfortunately, yes, it can be a hereditary type of high blood pressure. So it's sort of part of your genes. Of course, I want you to still try to maintain a healthy diet and maintain a healthy weight and do all those great things for you. But you might still need something to help with that high blood pressure. Your doctor might put you on a medication. Don't punish yourself. If you have to go on a medication for something, let your doctor put together the best plan for you. And it might be a temporary time that you're on medication until you can sort out your dietary needs every week. The thing about high blood pressure is there are some natural things you can do to help improve your blood pressure. So walking, movement every day, just getting your body moving can help with your blood pressure. It helps to clean out your lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system is what gets rid of the toxins and stuff in our body, and it doesn't have a pump like the heart. So the only thing that helps our lymphatic system is movement. Do you guys know what the best thing is for the lymphatic system? It's like a little exercise thing you can use.
Rebounder.
Yes. Anybody have a rebounder? I used to have one. I got rid of it because our condo was too small, and I thought, I don't really use it, but I miss it now. A rebounder, they're like the little tiny little trampolines. If you don't know the name rebounder, so it's like a little trampoline. You can even get them with a little thing so you can hold on if your balance isn't great. And it's just about bouncing on this little thing for a little bit. I suppose you could take your what are they called? Like those big, there's a name for it. The big balls, you see at the gym, you could sit on, like the bouncy balls. I have one on a chair, my Evolution chair. It's like you could sit on it when you're at your desk. But anyways, one of those balls too, and just bouncing on that will help to kind of get that lymphatic system going. If you have high blood pressure, you might need to look at your salt intake. And by salt, I mean like the everyday salt, like the not great salt, not the Himalayan salt or the Celtic salt that has other minerals that's very, very helpful for you. But where do we get high salt intake and we don't even realize it? Does anybody know?
Processed foods.
Processed foods, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All those packaged foods, even though we think that it's not processed that much, for them to get it in that package and for it to say preserved and sit on the unfortunately on the shelf in the grocery store for months, maybe years, like some crackers and cookies are up there for years, they have to put a whole lot of salt in it. So looking at your salt intake, managing your stress can just put someone's high blood pressure, their pressure up. What do they call it? White coat syndrome, when the doctor, who sees the doctor anymore? Anyways, I sort of laugh at that. I haven't seen my doctor in ages. I talked to her on the phone the other day, but the doctor used to come in with the lab coat on, and right away our blood pressure would go up before they'd even put the cuff on our arms, right? And so, of course, they'll might chit chat with, maybe it's high, right? They don't tell you. This is the trick. They don't tell you that, whoa, that was very high. So they keep talking to Mr. Jones. And so how's fishing? How are you doing with fishing? Meanwhile, they're taking the blood pressure again, because now their mind is distracted and it's not just the high blood pressure just because of the nervousness. Cutting back on your caffeine and also cutting down on alcohol. Both of those things can help bring your blood pressure down. What What else can help with blood pressure? Well, guess what? You might be low in potassium foods. You might be low in potassium. So if you are low in potassium, it might show up as high blood pressure. So what can you eat? Green leafy vegetables, bananas. We always hear about bananas having lots of great potassium in them. Apricots, nuts, seeds, beans. I don't have it up here, but avocados are huge on potassium. And I put this last one on here because I thought I don't want us to forget about our good old dark chocolate. I'm not referring to the candy chocolate from Halloween. I know, doesn't that make you feel excited? I feel happy about that because I love dark chocolate. So I'm talking around the 70% or higher for chocolate. They're rich in flavonoids, and what the chocolate actually does, I don't know, it's a soothing thing. So sometimes you crave chocolate. It might be because you're low in potassium, but the chocolate, what it does is it relaxes your blood vessels. And when your blood vessels are relaxed, then they kind of expand a little bit, and blood can flow through them better, if that makes sense. And it naturally lowers your blood pressure. So next time you're having a little bit of a sweet treat with your dark chocolate, and somebody says something to you, if they have it in them to say something, mention something, you can just tell them, well, I'm lowering my blood pressure. I don't know. I haven't had chocolate in a little while. I like to find when it goes on sale in my particular grocery store, I like to get that beautiful, I like a hint of orange in my dark chocolate. But anyways, I can go on a lot about chocolate. All right, let's look at the 6th ailment, psoriasis. So yes, you're right, Cheryl. Soups. Oh, soups are the worst. You know, you look at the can of soup and you cannot believe if that's true, that there's 600 milligrams or something of salt in that one little teeny weeny can. I think it's crazy how much salt they can put in tin foods. Yeah, very, very, very true. And then they come out with this low salt ones. And if you read how much salt is in the low salt one, you think, oh my gosh, what's in the regular one if the low salt one is this high? Yeah, you really have to look at those things. But you'd never put that much salt in your homemade soup, would you?
No.
So it's weird, isn't it? Because it's how they have to process it like that. The only soup that I really love, because I like using it when I make my tuna casserole, is the cream of mushroom soup. I know it's probably not the best thing for me, and it's probably full of salt, but I love that cream of mushroom flavor, and it's just nice when I make my little kind of like macaroni tuna casserole thing. That's what I use in it. But anyways, yeah, and you're right. The slow salt ones, they taste horrible because there's not enough salt in them. Anyways, okay, let's talk about psoriasis. Also, we can have, what's the other skin thing? Eczema, or eczema, they call it. So psoriasis isn't fun, right? When we have a psoriasis thing on our arms or on our legs, we're wearing pants to hide our legs in the summer. What causes psoriasis? Well, I don't really talk about the cause, but stress can definitely trigger a psoriasis episode on our bodies. Salt baths can help soothe psoriasis. Anything to reduce our stress can help our psoriasis patch. You know, it comes as like patchy skin, it's flaky, it's red, there's redness, there's inflammation. If you haven't had psoriasis, then it's hard for you to understand how inconvenient it can be. You know, it doesn't look great when there's some eruption on our skin and we're embarrassed by it, and then we're more stressed about it, so then it makes it worse because our stress is higher. So anything to bring down our stress, like meditation, yoga, tai chi, anything like that would be very helpful for psoriasis. Also, if you live in an environment where the air is very dry. I live in BC in Canada, and we have quite a moist air here in BC. So that's not really a problem for me. But where you live, if you're in Arizona or anything like that, where there's dry heat, getting a humidifier and putting that on in your home can add some moisture, and it can help your skin. So yeah, Cheryl's in Phoenix. So Phoenix is like dry heat. My brother loves that dry heat. It's great for arthritis. It's great for your joints, but it's not great for your skin. Sometimes it can make it dry. So a humidifier is great. What else can help psoriasis? Well, here's our beautiful aloe vera. It's not surprising, right? Because it's that gorgeous gel. You can take an aloe vera plant right from the plant and take that gel and put it right on your skin, right on the psoriasis, right on the redness and the scaling and the itching and that inflammation, and it will soothe your psoriasis. You can also buy aloe vera in gels. Check in your health food store, check the ingredients, make sure aloe vera is the first ingredient, not the last ingredient. Make sure there's really no reason to have any other ingredient in your aloe vera gel. Maybe some kind of stabilizer, but that's it. So if you can't get an aloe vera plant, I would try finding the aloe vera gel. And people use the aloe vera gel. When's another reason people would use aloe vera gel? Any ideas?
Sunburns.
For burns.
Yep, that's right. I have one that says after sun aloe vera to soothe your skin. So we take that when we go to Maui, when we are in Hawaii. I don't sit on the beach, but I love to be in the water. So if I'm walking at the beach or in the water, even with darker skin, like I have a little bit darker complexion, I can still burn. I can burn my shoulders. I have burned my face before. So aloe vera is beautiful. And here's that beautiful omega-3 again. Omega-3, it's known to decrease inflammation. So when you have a psoriasis patch on your skin and it's kind of inflamed and it's just not feeling good, having your omega-3s can really help. You take your omega-3s in internally and it will help your skin. Let's move on to, does anybody have any questions about psoriasis? No? Okay. We're going to look at the last one. And this is what prompted me to do a class on optimal eye health. And that class is, let me see, today is Thursday, right? So when am I teaching that? My eye class is on Saturday. My first time teaching it will be on Saturday. So it's just, it's a brand new class I've created. So regular eye checkups is one way to keep your eyes, improve your eyesight. Why is that? Well, it helps to prevent diseases. Your eye doctor checks to see, oh, your pressure's not great. There's some things going on here. Find out ahead of time. Don't wait till you've damaged your eyes. Staying fit and maintaining your weight is also a great way to keep your eyes in better shape. And that's because you will avoid getting things like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, actually, you can damage your eyes. It's the little mini vessels behind your eye and by the retina that get damaged from diabetes, from having too high a sugar, even if you're pre-diabetic. So, and it's called diabetic retinopathy. But, beautiful, having a good diet, trying to maintain a proper weight, protective eyewear. As we age, our eyes change, and you'll find this out in the eye class. If you're going to go outside, you're not 20 anymore. Most of us are not 20 anymore, and our eye pupils and things change. So we get blinded by brightness, even on a glary day. It doesn't even have to be super sunny. Wear your sunglasses. Let your eyes adjust a little bit. Be wearing protective eyewear if you're going to cut the lawn or do anything that might put your eyes in jeopardy. All of those things are important for our eyes. The key, there's some key vitamins and minerals that our eyes really need. And what are those? Most of us know this, I think, from commercials or just hearing about, carrots are good for your eyes. Vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E, those are the main ones. And zinc, those are all awesome things to have for having your eyes. So if you have eye strain, you wear glasses, you wear contacts, we want to be kind to our eyes. So colorful vegetables, those reds and oranges, carrots, the red peppers, broccoli, spinach, strawberries, all of those things, even sweet potatoes, fantastic. All those things are great for our eye health. The carotenoids that are in the other vegetables, also very, very good for our eyes. So as we age, our eyes are going to shift. They might shift a little bit. We are more prone to some eye diseases, like, can you think of some people might have glaucoma, cataracts are common with older adults.
Macular degeneration.
Yes, macular degeneration. So the macula is part of the back of our eye, the retina, and that can degenerate. So having these vitamins and minerals is a great way to keep your eyes in. And you know, there are some people who have even reversed some of their eye, like they feel like their eyes aren't very good, and then they start really working on eye health, and they can improve their eyes, where they're going, I think I see better now. They probably do. I think there is some ability to reverse some of the, not necessarily damage, but the eyes don't seem to be working as well as they once did. So, so that brings us to this is our 7th ailment. So that is the natural remedies class. We've had some understanding of the healing power of foods and plants and herbs and food, the spices. We talked a little bit about the history of medicinal plants, and we've learned some natural remedies for these 7 common ailments. There's lots of new classes coming up every single week. As guides, we don't really have the say as to when they put the class, when they get the new classes onto the schedule. I've created a class on diabetes management, so look out for that one. They haven't scheduled it yet. They usually schedule a couple weeks in advance, so I know it's not next week, but possibly the diabetes class will show up the week after, so 2 weeks from now. What else? There's all sorts of really interesting classes. I did a business class yesterday on how to start up your own business and what 10, 11 things to look for if you decide you want to do a little small business. I think there's more and more exercise classes now too. Most of them are in the mornings, so we can get a little bit of movement in our mornings. So just look out for those. I will send you out a post email, and I'll just summarize what we talked about today. You will have a button to do feedback. We do really appreciate when you do the feedback form, because it just gives us what things that we could improve on, what things you might like to have added to a class. You can also let us know about classes you'd like to see. There's an invite a friend button now once you sign up for a class. But here, if you have an idea for an interest group that you might like to even lead yourself, we welcome you to do that, suggesting new classes and asking for the recording. So I know it's the end of the day for a lot of us. I'm not used to teaching this late in the day. I'm feeling a little tired myself, but I'm going to try and drink a little bit of water. That usually perks me up a little bit. And if anybody has any questions, we do have a few minutes.
I have a couple of questions for you,
Sure.
Sabina. Did you mention that you studied functional medicine?
Functional nutrition. Yes, I did.
Okay. Would you consider a class on that where it's, like you teach, where we could understand it?
I mean, yeah, I suppose that could be considered like a class. I will tell you this, Susie. Every single health class that I have created, there is an element of functional nutrition in it, because that's just how that's how I think. Now, I mean, I did an interest class on basic nutrition yesterday. I came into an interest class, and the individual had a background as a dietitian, which is a great background to have. Her approach to nutrition was not very different, but quite different to how I feel. But it was interesting to listen in on that class. So I'll tell you, for any of you that have taken any of my classes, whether it's even the morning routine class, there is elements of functional nutrition, because that is how I look at the body as a whole. So you've noticed in the slides that you saw just now, I didn't just say, okay, treat anxiety with lavender. I talked about other things, holistic things you can do to improve your anxiety. So I feel kind of like, Susie, you're getting functional nutrition in every single class I do. I mean, maybe you want to have a better understanding of what it means. What does functional nutrition actually mean? That would be, I suppose you could do a whole class on it. There are doctors that call themselves functional medicine doctors. And what that means is they use nutrition as the heart of their practice. So you might have a Western medicine doctor that has been like your family doctor, and now they've studied some other things to do with food and maybe even some Eastern medicine style things. And now they call themselves a functional medicine doctor. So when you see that doctor, the doctor's not just going to give you a prescription. That's not
Right.
all they will do. They will look at some of these other things first. That's really what functional means. It's about functional foods are foods that are going to heal you. Non-functional foods are foods that have no nutritional value, like,
Iceberg lettuce.
yeah, I mean, the poor iceberg lettuce, I feel bad for it, right? Like, I mean, it's crunchy. I like the crunch, and it's got water in it. So people that are low in water, iceberg lettuce is pretty fantastic. But like things like chips, like the processed foods we eat, there's no value of nutrients usually in those foods. So that's what we go functional versus non-functional.
I went to a functional doctor about a year ago, and yeah, he started me on a detox. I had to go through several weeks of detox, and then toward the end, I was adding one food at a time to see what reaction I might have, So it was very interesting, It was very expensive, and since insurance don't cover that, it's horrible. I would love to go back to them, but
yes, absolutely.
It's pretty expensive.
I know exactly what you mean. I even find it's expensive when I go to my naturopath. I might consider doing a class where I teach you how to do that yourself, Nelda. And there is a way that, so in the class that hasn't been taught yet, or I haven't taught yet, that I created called Food Lifestyle. Today's Food Lifestyle Trends is the name of the class. I haven't seen it put on the schedule yet. I talk about the different ways of eating, like Mediterranean diet versus the vegan diet versus pescatarian diet. What does that mean? What does flexitarian mean? Like there's all these keto diet. Like I talk about all the different diets. And then I talk about one particular diet that helps you to do that, where you eliminate most of those inflammatory foods and then you slowly introduce them in yourself and write and journal to see how that food affects your body, because we're all different, right? Yeah, it's not up yet. Yeah, John, you're right. I've created it. I've been waiting for this class to come out. Now, after that class comes out, I am hoping to do a class on that one particular diet, which is called Whole 30. If anybody's heard that term, Whole 30, to talk
Yes,
about
I have.
how you can learn to do this yourself. Like Nelda spent money to go see a functional medicine doctor. Well, I have the experience as a functional nutritionist to help you figure out, like maybe green peppers aren't good for you and they cause all sorts of problems, and you didn't realize that's what's causing the diarrhea, not the whatever else other food you're eating. For somebody it could be oranges, for somebody it could be, I don't know, gluten could be the problem. So
I would love to see you do a class along those lines.
yeah, I mean, my class that I'm working on right now that just got the idea for is to improve our longevity. And then after that, I will try and consider doing, see, those kind of classes are a little bit more narrow. They're not like general classes, like a diabetes class and things like
Right.
that. So, but nobody tells us specifically what I have to do a class on, like in terms of my management. They kind of leave it to us, like what we're passionate about. And of course, as you can see, I'm very passionate about functional foods and functional nutrition. So you guys are getting all of this training that I spent thousands of dollars learning. So it's kind of neat that you're getting some of the stuff to add to the knowledge you have already. So
Could you consider how to break the sugar habit?
oh, that's a tough one, but you know what? I'm doing it right now. I didn't think I would be able to do it. I'm even doing it because I'm not even having fruit right now because I'm trying to cut out all sugar, but I'm going to introduce fruit again soon. But I needed to give my pancreas a break. So most of us that are most of us are sugar addicted. Unfortunately,
Yes. I am totally that. And I can't believe at 72 years old, I am on no medications.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's awesome.
But I'm afraid that the ball is going to drop.
Yeah, I see. I hear you. I hear you. Well, just as I said, did I say it in this class or the last class? Like even in potato patties that you buy processed or
Yes,
packaged, they
yes.
put sugar.
You
There's
said that,
dextrose in there.
yes. Mhm.
Dextrose is sugar.
And ketchup.
Well, ketchup, you can almost like taste it, but
Taste
in my
it,
potato
yeah.
patties, don't put
Yeah.
sugar in my potato patties, but they do it for one reason, and that's to get you addicted to it. So you want to eat more and then you buy more.
Mhm.
Eat
Yeah.
more, buy more.
Yeah.
So that's our food industry, unfortunately. I hope I don't have any food industry people here, and I apologize, but it's the
That's
truth.
okay. It's not their fault if they're in the industry. It's the industry and the government that's encouraged it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's true. I can talk a lot about sugar.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are at our time. I'm conscious of it because we're live streaming, and I
Yes.
don't want them to think, oh, Ravina, she's gone over time again. I
Oh,
really
oh.
appreciated having you all here today. This has been a really great conversation. I hope that you found it helpful.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
You
Thank
are
you.
welcome. Please fill out the feedback if you can. And I'd love to see you again. I'm teaching tomorrow and Saturday, so look out for those classes. Which is Saturday is the detoxing your home and the eye class. It's going to be my first time teaching that. Tomorrow is nutrition, basic nutrition, and my brain course. So we will see you guys hopefully in the next day or so.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks, John, for your
Regina.
help. Thanks for
Thank
helping
you.
us.
Bye-bye.